Right. Mindful of everyone's time because there's a lot of rich content that we're going to share. So why don't we, I suggest if everyone's okay, we'll start now. So again, afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ruben from Singapore Fintech Association. And what we have here today is that we would like to, as part of our Expand Your Business series, we would like to introduce Sri Lankan market to everyone here today. And we have a rich lineup that we have set up for everyone here today. Very fortunate today that we have His Excellency the Ambassador of Sri Lanka based in Singapore joining us for the call. He'll be giving us an opening. And then after that, we would then like to invite all our subsequent speakers to really share a bit more with you about the potential in Sri Lanka and also what are some of the opportunities. And more importantly, also to also identify what kind of partnership you can get yourself into, and if there are going to be any concerns, how can they be kind of addressed? And overall, I think what we really want to bring across today is that there's a lot of potential in Sri Lanka, there are a lot of untapped potential or probably even opportunities that our members are not aware of, that we feel that this is a very good chance for us to explore this possibility. And maybe before I invite His Excellency to share more with us, on my part, I think it's one thing that I want to share with everyone as to why we are even want to expose our members and are coming to Sri Lankan market. According to EY research, the fintech sector in Sri Lanka is actually growing on a 25% annually, makes it one of the fastest growing segment within Sri Lankan economy. And at the same time, according to a source from World Bank, there are over 60% of Sri Lankans at this moment that lack access to formal financial services, which is exactly the reason why many of our fintech members are born, many a reason why they have a purpose and mission, and it is precisely for some of this untapped potential that you can be there to support greater financial inclusion. Above all, I think the government is also placing emphasis on fintech as a sector. So there are actually, from the government, is actually actively promoting fintech as well, where from the central bank they are offering tax breaks, they are regularly sandboxes, and as well as other initiatives. And there's no better way for us to show this kind of support from the government other than having the ambassador himself here to give us an opening and also to share more and about his country with us. So without further ado, may I invite His Excellency to give us an opening.
Thank you, Ruben. Mr. Ruben Lim, Chief Operating Officer, Fintech Association Singapore. Mr. Channa D. Silva, Chief Executive Officer, Lanka Pay Private Limited. Mr. Ashok Verma, Founder in Ventures. Ms. Radhika Obesekara, Director of Investment Promotion and Marketing, Port City, Colombo. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to join you today at this virtual webinar, jointly organized by the High Commission of Sri Lanka in Singapore and the Fintech Association in Singapore. It is a part of our efforts to collaborate with the Singapore companies through chambers and product associations. First of all, I want to warmly welcome all of our resource persons and participants to this important event. I also take this opportunity to express my appreciation to Mr. Lim and his team for accepting our request and organizing this webinar within a short period of time. This webinar aims at providing key inputs to Singapore fintech companies on the Sri Lankan fintech landscape and opportunities available in Sri Lanka for fintech companies. Investment in Sri Lanka's fintech sector is yet another important dimension of today's webinar. There is great potential for Singapore companies to contribute to Sri Lanka's fintech development. We welcome investments in Sri Lanka from Singapore in this sector and play a major role in Sri Lankan fintech journey. As you may be aware, technological innovation in the field of finance have been continuously on the rise globally as well as in Sri Lanka. The fintech landscape in Sri Lanka has grown rapidly in recent years, with many local payment apps and service providers emerging in the market. However, due to lack of awareness of the fintech landscape in Sri Lanka and the opportunities available, foreign companies are reluctant to explore more opportunities in this sector. Hence, I am confident that today's session would help Singaporean companies to explore more business opportunities in this sector. I would also like to assure you that from the High Commission of Sri Lanka, we will be happy to extend whatever facilitation or assistance you may require in following up on the outcomes of your discussions today. With these words, I once again thank you for joining us and hope that today's discussion will be insightful and valuable for you all. Thank you. Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you. Thanks, Excellency. Nicole, may I trouble you to take us through the agenda, please?
Hi, okay. So I guess it is Chana's turn to share about the. Give me a moment, yeah.
Right. I think what we have next is we have Mr. Chana Di Silvia, Chief Executive Officer of Lanka Pay. So Mr. Silvia, maybe we invite you to take the floor now. Thank you.
Hi. Okay, so I guess it's Chana's turn to share about the fintech landscape and fintech opportunities in Sri Lanka.
Can I share my screen?
Yes, and we can see your
Is
screen.
it visible?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. I might turn off my video so that that is okay with everybody.
Yes.
Thank you for the Sri Lankan High Commission in Singapore, as well as Singapore Fintech Association, for giving this opportunity. I would try to briefly explain the current landscape and what are the opportunities that are available. So just briefly, my background, Lanka Pay is basically the national payment network. We basically facilitate all the interbank transactions, primarily account-to-account transactions, through different channels, whether it's through internet banking, mobile banking, fintech apps, and so on. So we are sort of, I would say, the gel that connects all the dots in the ecosystem. First, let me just give a feel of the market in terms of the digital adoption and financial sector transactions, and then get into a bit on who's out there in the market, as well as some other statistics. So just a feel of what's in store in terms of the country. We have a population of nearly 22 million, out of which a decent 15 million or 67% of them have access to the internet. And out of the people who have access to the internet, out of the 67%, 93% of them use smartphones. 67% use laptops, and so on. So this is basically more of a demographic of the technology landscape to a great extent. We actually did a market research to find out the opportunity size in the market in terms of the smartphone penetration. So what we found is that, obviously the survey, basically looked at the entire country, covered the entire country. So we took more than 15-year-olds, which we felt who has the spending capacity into the survey. We found that out of a 22 million population, 15 years and above is roughly about 15 million. And out of them, we have about 67% coverage in terms of smartphones. So which is not just in Colombo, Western Province, it's countrywide. So this is an average, so which is not a bad number, which is a decent number to deal with. And in terms of the age group, roughly 20 to 24, 32% of them have smartphones, 29% for age 25 to 34, and so on. So you can look at the numbers. And gender equality, this actually reflects the gender composition in the country, 53% female and 47% male. We have the largest in the social economic classification. Social economic C has about 48% penetration. But I think interesting aspect on your left-hand side, you can see out of the 22 million population in Sri Lanka, only less than 20% live in urban settings. So if we are to penetrate, we have to penetrate to non-urban areas, which is other towns and villages, which has 80% of the population. One of the aspects of this is when we look at our ATM statistics, we found that nearly 70% of the ATM users access the ATMs in local languages. So which gives an indication that trilingual is a must if you are to penetrate into the market. Bit of a feel of in terms of the social media usage. So out of the smartphone users, 82% use social media platforms. 63% people watch TV, but majority of them are watching TV on smartphones. 15% listen to radio and 8% read newspapers. So this is basically a feel of the market in terms of social media and other media adoption. In terms of the social media and messaging platform, 8.4 million, there are average monthly Facebook users in Sri Lanka, 7 million YouTube users on a average monthly basis, 2.2 million LinkedIn, and 1.9 million Instagram. In terms of the messaging platform, out of the smartphone users, 67% users WhatsApp, 23% users Facebook, 20% Imo, and so on. So this is sort of a rough landscape of the technology landscape in the country. In terms of the online purchase behavior, so all these are based on surveys and market research from different parties. I have quoted the source. In terms of the online purchase frequency, what we found is more than 50% or 52% at least purchase online once a month or more. So which is not a bad number, but I think there's still more great potential to penetrate into this segment. Then in terms of the online payment methods, interestingly, nearly 50% of the e-commerce purchases still happen on cash on delivery. So what we found is one of the primary reasons for this is the trust. Most of the consumers are afraid to make a payment because they are not sure whether the merchant will deliver the goods and whether it will be in the same quality. So because of that, a majority prefers cash on delivery or goes ahead with cash on delivery. However, these numbers will vary from platform to platform. I was actually talking to one of the largest e-commerce platforms, Daras, which is part of Alibaba Group. They said nearly 65 to 70% still happen on their platform on cash on delivery. So that's a massive potential to convert some of these into digital. In terms of the digital payments landscape, if you take more of account-based, which is fast payments landscape, we can see on terms of left-hand side, the charts, the growth of internet-based payments, quarter on quarter, it has been growing in terms of the volume as well as the value of transactions. So in Q4 2023, so all these statistics are based on a document published by the central bank, which is called the Payments Bulletin. The latest version now out is Q4 2023. And according to that, Q4 2023, internet banking volume has gone up to nearly 70 million transactions at a 3.4 trillion worth of transactions in rupee terms. In terms of interbank transaction, this is what we basically facilitate as an organization. In 2023 calendar year, we did nearly 30 trillion worth of transactions through our platforms, which is more than the GDP of Sri Lanka. We have 30 banks and 23 non-bank financial institutions connected to the system. In terms of the fast payments or real-time payments, 163 million transactions at a 13.6 trillion in value, which equates to, if you look at the right bottom, the value of these transactions is equivalent to almost more than 45% of GDP of the country. And interestingly, the payment to government is also increasing. Last year, we facilitated nearly 1 trillion worth of government payments as well. In terms of the credit card payments, the volumes have been growing. I know COVID has sort of helped in this equation. We had almost 2 million credit cards issued in the market. And in terms of the volume, in Q4 2023, we did 22 million number of transactions on using credit cards, and the value is 162 billion in Q4. But if you look at on the right-hand side, quarter on quarter, you can see the number has been growing. So which is kind of a very encouraging aspect of this. In terms of the debit card transactions, we have issued 20.4 million number of cards, debit cards into the market. So mind you, the population of the country is 22 million, and there are many bank account holders without debit cards. So informally, what we found is we have more than 40 million bank accounts, which means almost pretty much everybody who has a spending capacity has a bank account. So Sri Lanka, in that sense, is, I would say, a banked country. However, the problem is people do not deposit money into the banks. I'll get into that, and I'll show you why and what is the opportunity that creates people into the fintech opportunities for fintech. So if you look at the debit card-based transactions, that has also steadily been growing quarter on quarter in terms of the volume as well as the value of the transactions. In terms of the e-commerce transactions, again, based on Central Bank's payments bulletin, again, it has been growing quarter on quarter. In terms of the volume, Q4 2023, we have done 27 million number of transactions at a value of 81 billion rupees across the different e-commerce platforms in the country. So in terms of the players, existing players in the market, we would say fintech, pure fintech kind of players, I would like to highlight. So we have all these players in the market who are catering to different segments of the market. For example, if you take something like HelaPay, which is actually a variant of an app called Helakuru, which was a local language keyboard, which had about nearly 12 million downloads and 4+ million active users. Now their main opportunity is they're actually converting all those local language keyboard users into a payment application. Then we have different applications from a telco called Genie, which is operated by Dialog. Paymaster is a mobile reload application because in the market, nearly 95% of our mobiles are prepaid. And mobile reload is a significant number of transactions that are happening for mobile reloads, data as well as mobile reloads. And we have different players like Coco, which is a subsidiary of Daraz, which is part of Alibaba Group. We have Mcash and EasyCash, which are mobile money operators. And then we have Coco and actually MintPay is BNPL platforms, which are also growing significantly. We have a lottery app, which is DLB Sweep, and so on. So these are, I would say, sort of pure fintech applications. Then we have bank and financial institute, NBFI-led apps. The large banks like HNB, commercial, Flash is commercial, Solo is HNB, Freem is Nations Trust Bank. iPay is a large platform operated by a finance company called LOLC Finance. VPay is from Sampath Bank. BPay is from Bank of Ceylon, People's Bank, NSB Pay, and so on. So these are bank-led apps which are catering to other customers as well. So this is not a pure mobile banking, but these are fintech apps which are catering to requirements of other bank customers as well. In terms of the other platform players in the market, I would say we may not have a very, very large base. I did not include some of the small startups which are just coming into the market. But we have, as I explained, Daraz, which is part of Alibaba Group, who's actually a large e-commerce player. First e-commerce player in the market, Kapruka.com, which is catering to primarily expat Sri Lankans to make purchases and send goods to their relatives. Then we have Ikman.lk, which is primarily a platform that is trying to replicate eBay. Then we have P2P platforms such as Helios P2P. Then Atrad is a stock trading platform where we can buy and sell. WebExPay is primarily a payment, and Payable are more of payment facilitators, which they are providing like internet payment gateways, locally driven. Robocash and iLoan are lending platforms. And PickMe is the largest local ride-sharing platform. They are also doing food delivery as well. So these are this is sort of a kind of a overview of the players in the market and in terms of what they are exploring in the market. I'm just slightly going to some of the technologies that we have implemented. One of the platforms that we implemented was called JustPay, which is primarily enabling account-based payments on mobiles. It's a very simple concept. It's not an app. It's basically allowing a customer of any bank to take their bank account and attach it to any app or a browser-based solution in the market and make a payment, which is a very simple concept. So you just sign up once with your bank account and you make payment, your account is debited, the merchant account is credited in real time. And we have seen significant growth. Note that this was introduced to convert low-value transactions, which are 100% happening on cash, to digital. What is encouraging is out of the transaction volumes, what we saw was more than 52% of the transactions were below 1,000 rupees, which means low value cash is actually getting converted to digital. So there is a massive opportunity. I'll show you the opportunity in my last slide, to convert this segment in that. Then the other platform that we have implemented is what we call Lanka QR, which is primarily we have this slightly old, this number, this should be somewhere close to 400,000 merchants have been enabled, which is basically EMV core-based, standard-based QR we have introduced. And there's only one QR standard in Sri Lanka across all the players, which is an interoperable standard, which is called Lanka QR. So any person who introduces a QR payment option will have to follow this as per the central bank regulation. And also very low MDR, which is currently at 0.5% MDR. And also we have enabled this Lanka QR to be enabled to international parties, UPI, in India platform. Actually now any app which has UPI can actually scan and pay. The account in India is debited in Indian rupees, and the merchant account gets credited in Sri Lankan rupees in real time, and the exchange conversion is much better for the consumer, their cost, and for the merchant as well. And we have also enabled it for Union Pay. We are in the process of a final stage of getting on board Alipay as well as WeChat, because if you look at the demographics of tourism, the largest contingent of tourism to Sri Lanka is coming from India, and second or the third largest is from China. So these all have been enabled, and Alipay and WeChat Pay will be enabled fairly soon to facilitate these transactions. So any app in the market in partnership with the licensed player can use this platform to enable payments. Then we have also introduced a P2P payment option, which is fairly similar to UPI of India. We call it Payment Exchange Name, or PEN for short, which is basically introducing a nickname and a unique mobile number, which is the customer's mobile number, the joint combination to send money person to person to another party. So you don't need to. So this is account-to-account payment, and where you don't need to know the credentials of the other side. You don't even need to know the bank of that other party. All they need to tell you is, this is my nickname, send money to that. So if you have a contact of your friend, contact number in your phone, when you select the contact number, it'll show the nicknames the friend has. And supposing the friend has 3 bank accounts across 3 banks, it'll show you 3 nicknames. All you need to do is to select the nickname and send the money, and the money will get translated into the other recipient's account instantaneously. And so the recipient doesn't even need to disclose the bank number, account number, branch, bank, nothing. It's just the nickname. And we have introduced lower transaction fees for this. And also what we have found is, especially on the internet banking fund transfers, if you use the wrong account number, money can go to somebody else. But here it cannot happen, because the account nickname is linked to the bank account number as well as the mobile number. So it will only go to even if you select the wrong nickname, it will go to a different account of the same user. In terms of another platform, what we have enabled, what we have seen is, especially on the e-commerce sector, as I said, 50% of the goods are ordered cash on delivery. And what happens is when the courier guy comes to home to deliver, they don't announce when they are coming, you are not at home and you have not left cash at home. So you are stuck. So we introduced a platform called PayMe, which is basically sending a universal payment link, which will appear as an in-app message in any app in the market. Any app that is integrated to this platform, where it will come as an in-app message. For example, I'll take an example. The delivery guy comes and just sends a pay me request. The intended user, whether in office or wherever, will get as an in-app message from wherever they can actually just click on that, make a payment. So this is primarily, this can be used for peer-to-peer payments. An individual can request payments from others. It can be for utility payments, mobile payments, where you get a SMS stating your mobile bill. Now it will come as a universal payment link as an in-app message, and you can just click and pay. And recurrent payment collections like loan repayments, lease payments, BNPL, buy now, pay later payments on a regular basis, all these which the platform can be used. And also another part that we have introduced, what we have found is 95% of the mobiles are reload, as I said, and most of the time when the user goes to make a payment, they run out of data and so on. So we have introduced a completely offline card, which is a virtual card, which is basically a EMV card, which is EMV stored value card, but it works on offline, both on the merchant side and the consumer side. So the concept here is, the money is in the phone, and the transaction will never fail because of a data transmission error or bank side down, network down. This is basically NFC phone to the terminal, and you can just tap and go NFC, and loss of data connectivity and other systems down will not affect the payment as long as you have money on your phone. The last but not least, another area that we have enabled is government payments. We have already enabled a decent amount of government payments to be made through fintech apps, mobile banking, internet banking. And basically, in your fintech apps, there will be an option to make government payments, and it'll take you to a screen or portal where you select your department to pay, whether it's customs, inland revenue, or any rate payments to municipal council. You just simply select that and make that payment. Real-time payment is issued, and the customer gets the receipt real time in a form of PDF. The customer can print it out as a receipt, or keep that PDF as confirmation of payment. The department gets a portal where they can do a day-end reconciliation. So we have just we have implemented this for large payments like customs, inland revenue, ports authority. For larger payments, we are just deploying that across nearly 1,000 government departments for small payments for smaller departments. So that actually is a high-level view of the ecosystem, but I would say the opportunity. So we have done a lot. The numbers have been growing, but look at this, which is according to central bank's payments bulletin. Currency in circulation or cash in transit, as per payments bulletin Q3 2024, is 1.2 trillion. Which is a fairly large number. But the problem with that is not exactly that. But 75 or 76% of this cash in transit is with public, which means it involves cash boxes under the mattresses. So that there is a humongous opportunity to convert this in terms of the entire ecosystem. If we bring all these players together, e-commerce, fintechs, banks, non-banks, all of them together. So that is our effort. And this is the opportunity size in the market in terms of the financial transactions. Last but not least, we actually now the industry has come together. The banks, non-bank financial institutes, fintechs, fintech solution providers, service providers, startups, into a group called Fintech Forum we established several months ago, which is basically a national forum to support the country to be a center of excellence for fintech in the region. So this group is intended to be the government lobby, international partnerships, creating opportunities for local players to go overseas and vice versa. to become the government lobby for fintech industry. So this is basically what I want to present in terms of the landscape and the opportunities. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chana, for your insightful sharing on the fintech landscape and fintech opportunities. Now, can we have Mr. Ashok to share on his experience working with Sri Lanka fintech companies? Ashok, please.
Yeah, this is Ashok here from Adventures, and I'm a co-founder of Adventures. Along with me, I have Imal and Charinda, who are also part of the fund as a partner, and both of them are based in Sri Lanka. We've been associated with Sri Lanka for a pretty long time. It's almost like 10 plus years. First as a founder, we did a startup from 2014 to 19, which was acquired by one of the unicorn in Singapore. And after that, we have launched our fund. So part of the fund, we have taken Sri Lanka as one of the key focus because we understand that market pretty well. We have invested about in 12 companies. Out of that, 5 companies are actually coming from Sri Lanka. Some of the names which, Mr. Chana was talking about, like MintPay, is one of our portfolio company, is a buy now, pay later platform. We invested in like about 2022, and they've been selected by Accelerating Asia. They've been selected by Tenity in Singapore, and they've been pretty visible in Singapore ecosystem as well. Along with the MintPay, we have invested in Kaiju Lab, which is Web3 payment, gateway, wallet basically. And they have been also be part of the Singapore ecosystem, as in both the founders have been given as an entrepreneur pass and part of Ripple accelerators and also the Tenity accelerators. So what we see is that, the fintech space is expanding, and more founders are leveraging that and creating the product and services. One another example I would like to take is Smart Coop, which is company to digitize the corporate banks in Sri Lanka. So there are about like 16,000 plus cooperatives which has been using paper and pen, those books, old generational books to keep the records of the account holders. And now those being digitized by Smart Coop. There are about like 400 cooperatives that have been, completely digitized and also connected to the mainstream banking. So which creates a lot of impact, because this goes down to the rural part of Sri Lanka and connecting those people who are not served earlier, right? So I'm seeing that is not only just the urban part of the users who are using the fintech services, like what LankaPay has described, and it's also the rural side of it, where people are now getting used to of those services. And I see that it's a huge opportunity to work with the Sri Lankan startup. We ourselves has the startup which was done from 0 to 1 to 10. Basically, we had about 100 people in that team when we exited to the unicorn. And there's a huge resource pool coming out of the good universities like University of Morotova, University of Colombo, and we've been building these companies, on fintech space and supporting them. So as a part of the fund, we are looking to invest into fintech, B2B, and SaaS platform in 6 countries, primarily 3 from South Asia and 3 from Southeast Asia. So Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, this is what we do from South Asia. And then we are looking at Singapore, Vietnam, and Indonesia from Southeast Asia. So we always look forward to do some kind of exchange. So last year after the Singapore FinTech Festival, we did a event which was called South Exchange with Google. It was a 2 days curated program where we have bring about 15 startups from South Asia, and then exposed to the Singapore ecosystem to, make them aware about on a broader scale what's happening in this space. So anybody who's interested in Sri Lanka fintech space, I would say this is the time, because the acceleration has just started. So that's for me. If any question, I can take that.
Thank you, Ashok, for sharing on your experiences. Next, we have Radhika, who will share on the investment opportunities for fintech companies in Port City, Colombo. Radhika, please.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency and SFA. Thank you for the opportunity to present Port City, Colombo on today's session. I'm just going to share a couple of slides on Port City. If you can just tell me if you can see my screen.
We can.
Okay, great. So to give you an idea of the biggest development, the biggest infrastructure development that's currently happening here in Sri Lanka, this is Port City, Colombo. It's a world-class master plan city development here in the heart of Sri Lanka. Port City on completion is going to be a combination of living, residential, and commercial facilities. What we're really developing here is one of the most livable cities in South Asia. And the opportunities at Port City will extend beyond the living elements. It extends to trade and investment, as Port City has also been designated as what you call a special economic zone. So you might be familiar with the concept of SEZs. You find them in Dubai, Singapore, India, and so on. Sri Lanka and Port City, Colombo is going to be an addition to South Asia in terms of SEZs. So in terms of the investment into Port City, we're expecting a total investment of approximately $15 billion. That is on completion of the project. Having said that, to date, we have had foreign direct investment of $1.4 billion into the project, with zero loan component to the government of Sri Lanka. So that's just a couple of facts and figures on the project. And this is also to give you an idea of how the city will be developed. This is a master plan of the city. We had international consultants on board at the master plan stage. Many of you might be familiar with Subarna Jurong from Singapore and Sweco from Sweden. So what you see depicted in the different colors are the specific users that each land plot within this master plan city development will be. So an interesting fact to note here is that majority of Port City will comprise of living and residential facilities, while what you see in red are the commercial spaces, which will house businesses like yours, fintech companies, companies representing different service sectors. Now, this is where things get really interesting for businesses such as yourself. As I mentioned earlier, Port City Colombo has been designated as what you call a special economic zone. And it has been so designated by an act of parliament, an act that was passed in 2021. Now, this special economic zone is unique to the extent that it will be home only to companies that export their services. So in essence, what that means is that if you are looking to set up at Port City, your business will be predominantly dedicated to servicing foreign clients. So the opportunity here is for you to really set up your business at Port City and to use Port City to access South Asia India, and possibly other global markets. So Port City, in essence, is really going to be a gateway to expand your business globally. What is not permitted is for you to set up at Port City and to service the local market. So as I mentioned, because it is dedicated to exports of services, your business will be dedicated solely for foreign clients who you will be servicing from Port City. So what you also see here are some of the key features of this special economic zone. One of these key features is the fact that it's foreign currency designated, which means you don't carry out any of your transactions in the Sri Lankan rupee. Instead, you transact in any one of the main designated foreign currencies, including the USD, the GBP, the Singaporean dollar, the INR, Thai baht, and so on. So we have approximately 16 designated currencies with the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, and you're permitted to transact in any one of those foreign currencies. Now, the advantage of this is that by virtue of transacting in a foreign currency, you are cut out of the volatility of transacting in the Sri Lankan rupee. So any of you who have had the experience of dealing in the LKR in the recent past would know some of the challenges that we faced in terms of the drastically depreciating rupee and so on. So you're really cut out of the volatility of the performance of the rupee. In addition to that, we received parliamentary approval for a 25-year corporate income tax exemption. So we received that approval in August last year. So not only does Port City offer the 25-year corporate income tax exemption, but we also offer a personal income tax exemption. So all employees working at Port City or operating under the Port City payroll are eligible to be paid in foreign currency, as well as to be personal income tax free. So all in all, I think the features of the SEZ being foreign currency designated, offering one of the most attractive fiscal incentives in this part of the region, putting all that together, it really makes Port City Colombo one of the most attractive places for doing business in this part of the world. In addition to that, the Port City SEZ framework has really been designed to enhance businesses in terms of their operations, to really provide an ecosystem for businesses. So it addresses a lot of the challenges that businesses would otherwise face, not just in Sri Lanka, but also in the South Asian region. Some of the bottlenecks, some of the red tapes that businesses would otherwise face, all of those have been addressed through the Port City framework. In terms of foreign companies operating, there's no restriction in terms of who can operate. So companies can be 100% foreign owned. There's no restriction in terms of the number of foreign employees that you can have on your Port City payroll. And to facilitate this, Port City also offers a green channel for visas, with visas for foreign employees, their dependents and spouses as well. The Colombo Port City Economic Commission is the government body that has been tasked with overlooking Port City, onboarding businesses such as yourself, and really assisting you to ensure that you have 100% ease in terms of doing business. So the Port City Economic Commission sits at the helm of Port City as the apex government body. What you see here is the summary of the fiscal and non-fiscal incentives. So like I mentioned, a host of very attractive fiscal incentives in terms of 0% corporate tax, personal income tax, dividend tax, and also VAT, customs duties, which are some of the other indirect taxes applicable here in Sri Lanka. And also, as I mentioned, in terms of non-fiscal incentives, we're looking at a preferential visa system, no restrictions in terms of foreign currency transactions. So you're permitted to very freely move your funds around. You're permitted to bring in your capital as well as repatriate your profits in foreign currency. For those of you who have operated in Sri Lanka as well as this part of the world, you would know that one of the biggest challenges that businesses face is inconsistency in policy and sort of laws and policies changing in an ad hoc manner. So that has also been addressed through the Port City framework, through sort of compensation mechanisms which are available in your agreement, as well as through the Port City Act, which states that certain benefits, certain incentives which have been given to companies cannot be altered or rescinded in any way, regardless of the political climate or the administration that is in play. So in addition to the Port City SEC, we also have a distinct advantage in terms of a significant cost arbitrage compared to Singapore and Dubai. So all in all, in terms of costs of operations, we are about 1/4 the cost of Singapore and about, I beg your pardon, we are 1/4 the cost of Dubai and about 1/5 the cost of Singapore. So significant cost advantage when it comes to operating from Colombo, Sri Lanka as well. This is to kind of give you an idea of the cost in terms of running a 1,000-seater IT delivery center. So in terms of capacity, we are not equipped to host large capability centers as what you would see, say, in a tier 1 or tier 2 city in India or let's say Singapore. But at most we can house a 1,000-seater delivery center. And again, in terms of cost of operations, we have a significant cost advantage vis-a-vis some of the more popular cities. So this kind of gives you an idea of the eligibility criteria for qualifying for the 25-year tax exemption. So this is closely monitored by the government of Sri Lanka, and they have set up 4 criteria of which you're expected to satisfy 1. If you're clearly able to establish 1 of 4 criteria, you are eligible to the 25-year tax exemption. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on this. I'm quite happy to make individual presentations to anybody who wants to receive more information, but this kind of gives you an overview of the criteria that has to be met. Port City broke ground on a business center earlier this year. So the Port City Business Center will be up and running by September 2024. What we're really looking, in addition to the workspace, is also an ecosystem for service-oriented companies such as yours that have the potential to set up at Port City. So there's no minimum commitment in terms of space requirement. We can cater to larger teams. We can cater to co-working space requirements. But what we are really putting together, like I mentioned, is kind of a one-stop shop for companies such as yours, fintech companies and other service-oriented companies to set up at Port City. So this kind of gives you an idea of who can set up at Port City. So as I mentioned, we are welcoming international companies, companies from the region to come and set up at Port City. If you're currently operating in the region and you're looking at expanding your business, Port City is an ideal destination to cater to your spillover business. There's also opportunity for companies that already have a presence in Sri Lanka. Having said that, Port City will not permit shutting down your current operation and setting up at Port City, but there is opportunity for you to cater to your expansion. So if you have a presence in Sri Lanka and you're again looking to expand your operation in terms of workforce or even in terms of new markets, there is an opportunity for you to cater to that expansion through Port City. And finally, this is an added advantage. The Port City law permits you to operate from wherever you are. If you are currently operating in Sri Lanka, there is no requirement for you to move immediately into Port City. So you have the option of operating from wherever you are up until 2026. And that is the transitionary provision that the Port City Act currently offers. You can then look at having some sort of footprint, physical presence at Port City. So like I said, I'm very happy to take up any questions that you have, or you can also contact me directly if you would like to take the discussion forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ratika. So now we'll move on to the Q&A section. So unfortunately, due to time constraint, we will try to answer as many questions as possible. So one of the questions that an attendee raised for Ashok is, how is the KYC and AML space within the fintech space in Sri Lanka? Are there sufficient regulations in place to prevent fraud?
Yes, I mean, when we do the investments, you look at the whole end-to-end, basically, the company registration point of view, or from a founder's, the background check perspective, and also we help some of these companies to move over to Singapore to create the kind of bridge between the Singapore and Sri Lanka, so that they can utilize some of the capital from this part of the world. So in terms of the KYC and AML for other businesses, in terms of fintech, I think the payments and all, I guess Chana can answer that, but I think those are in place. I know there's new policies government has started. IFC has been very influential in terms of driving some of those policies. So that definitely you can be sure of that their proper KYC and AML checks are in place.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashok, for sharing. Is there any other questions? Okay, currently I don't receive any new questions. So that's all for today. Thank you to our speakers for their time and valuable insights. And thank you to everyone for joining us, and have a great week ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
the
you very
question.
much. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much.